Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we're embarking on an analysis of a truly foundational narrative.
Absolutely.
We're looking at the earliest history of mankind, moving from, well, from creation right through to the Great Global Flood. We're deep diving into excerpts from the Genesis narrative, creation to the flood.
It's a huge arc to cover.
It is, and our mission here isn't just to, retell the story. We want to thoroughly navigate its dramatic arc. We really want to pinpoint those rapid moral turns humanity took and understand the surprising specificity of the divine command given to Noah.
And the cost.
And critically, grasp the immense tangible cost of that unfailing obedience. Okay, so let's unpack this. We're starting right at the very beginning, the immediate aftermath of creation.
You have to start there, really. The source establishes this world just teeming with life.
Right.
I mean, God filled the earth with vegetation, then animals of every kind and species. It's this complete harmonious backdrop for the arrival of the two human beings, Adam and Eve. Perfection is established.
The perfect starting point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But what's immediately striking is the sheer velocity of the moral decline.
Mm-hmm.
The period of harmony is astonishingly short. Adam and Eve commit the first failure after being deceived by a serpent, which results in their expulsion from the Garden of Eden.
So that foundational moral constraint, just don't cross this one boundary. It's broken almost instantly.
Almost instantly.
And the escalation that follows it's horrifyingly fast. If the first failure was disobedience, the second one is murder.
Mm-hmm.
We leap immediately to the next generation, and the complexity of human relationship is it's twisted into extreme violence. Cain kills his own brother, Abel, purely out of jealousy.
So we move from broken trust to fratricide in literally one generation.
That speed, it suggests that the fundamental flaw wasn't just some external temptation, It became deeply rooted in the human condition very, very quickly.
That's a key insight. I mean, that event, Cain and Abel, it really sets the tone for all the subsequent generations. And the source material shows that even as humanity spread out, that fundamental moral problem spread right along with them, despite these wildly varied attempts to organize society.
How so?
Well, we see two distinct types of structure emerge. Some people lived as, true nomads and tribes. They were essentially led by family patriarchs or chiefs, the heads of these large extended families, including wives, children, servants. Their structures were familial, mobile.
Okay, and then you have the other model.
The other model,
Yeah.
those who chose to settle and build.
Cities.
Others constructed large cities, which were ruled not by family patriarchs, but by powerful, centralized leaders.
And this distinction seems vital for understanding the eventual crisis, doesn't it?
It really is.
I mean, if the nomadic tribe relies on kinship and shared resources, the powerful city relies on centralized control, concentrated power. So the question is, which one provides the easier environment for generalized wickedness to just flourish?
And that's precisely the question the text seems to pose. The source implies that regardless of whether they were wandering under a family chief or living in a massive city under a powerful ruler, a deeper systemic moral rot took hold.
But there's a hint that one was worse.
It seems the convenience and concentration of the cities under those powerful leaders often enabled a greater, more centralized form of corruption.
And how did that decay manifest?
We see it most clearly in their spiritual life. The crisis in worship becomes basically universal. While a segment of the population, like Noah's family line, continued to worship Jehovah, the vast majority just turned away. They started worshiping idols, false gods made of stone and wood, or the elevated natural phenomena, the celestial bodies.
The sun, the stars, the moon.
Exactly.
That's fascinating because turning away from the divine wasn't just some benign spiritual distraction, was it? The source connects the idolatry directly to the behavioral collapse.
It does. It suggests that once they stopped acknowledging the Creator, they stopped respecting the creation.
And each other.
And each other. The source provides the stark core reason for the impending action. The Lord saw that the wickedness of mankind had grown great on the earth, and, maybe more disturbingly, that people's thoughts were entirely compromised.
Their thoughts.
Their internal world was filled with violence and evil. It wasn't just what they did, it was what they continuously thought and what they plotted.
Wow. That sounds like a complete and utter societal and intellectual failure. It was at this point, then, when the internal landscape of humanity was just uniformly defined by violence, that we meet Noah.
Right. He was just tending his flock on a hill while the rest of the world was collapsing morally.
And God declared that he would wipe away humanity and all living creatures from the face of the earth. I mean, a declaration of final universal judgment.
But here,
Yeah.
Here is the massive hinge of the entire story. Noah intervenes.
He doesn't just accept it.
He doesn't just accept the judgment. He pleads with the Lord. He asks him to wait and see if any righteous people remained.
Which raises a profound question about what moral conviction, moral leverage.
Yes. What does it take to halt an impending universal judgment? And the answer provided in the text is the intervention, the righteousness, and the powerful plea of one solitary individual.
So Noah's faith.
His faith and his standing secured a reprieve for all of creation.
Yeah.
It just demonstrates the incredible weight a single person's moral status can carry.
The idea that God was ready to end it and one man literally negotiated a delay and a saving mechanism that shifts the entire narrative from tragedy to opportunity.
An opportunity.
And that opportunity brings us directly to the command itself, the precise, almost architectural instructions given to Noah. This is where we shift from, generalized moral discussion to specialized technical knowledge.
Completely.
God commanded Noah to build an ark, and the blueprint was extremely precise. It wasn't just build a big boat.
Oh, no. The level of detail is a study in purposeful design. The command specifies the material. It must be made of gopher wood.
Gopher wood.
And this isn't a throwaway detail. Gopher wood suggests a durable, resinous timber known for its resistance to rot and water, which indicates the structure had to withstand immense pressure and time.
Oh, okay. So materials matter.
And the dimensions matter. It had to be 3 stories high, requiring specific internal bracing and structural engineering. And the waterproofing was non-negotiable.
Yeah.
It had to be sealed with pitch inside and out.
Pitch?
This wasn't a quick paint job. Pitch, likely bitumen or asphalt, was the ancient world's most effective sealant, absolutely necessary to handle months submerged in violent waters.
So it tells us the command wasn't miraculous in its execution, but demanded intense, precise human labor.
Using the best available technology.
Noah couldn't just rely on divine power. He had to rely on gopher wood, pitch, and his own commitment to engineering.
Exactly.
And the cargo list was just as demanding. I mean, this was not just a family trip.
Not at all.
Noah was to bring his wife, his sons, and their wives. But the deeper task was the preservation of the biological world.
Male and female of every kind of animal and bird.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare.
It was a preservation project of global scope. And let's not overlook the practicalities.
Yeah.
Noah was also commanded to gather enough food.
Right? For everyone.
Not just for the 8 people, but for the entire menagerie, for the entire duration. This planning required foresight, massive storage capabilities, organization on a scale that's, well, unprecedented.
And finally, the time frame for the destructive phase was declared up front. The rain would fall for a specific symbolic duration.
40 days and 40 nights. That period marked the initial judgment.
So once he had the command, we move into the actual execution, which is where we truly understand the high cost of obedience. Noah obeyed, but this was a high-profile, deeply ridiculed construction project.
Oh, absolutely. The source says others mocked him and called him foolish while he worked tirelessly.
And that mockery is crucial because it speaks to the social ostracization he must have faced.
But the cost was more than just his reputation. To complete the construction of a vessel that size, acquiring the gopher wood, the pitch, the labor, the text, reveals Noah sold everything he had.
Wait, hold on a moment. We often focus on the spectacle of the flood, but let's just sit with that detail for a second.
It's huge.
Noah liquidated his entire life. His wealth, his stability, his possessions, all gone. Invested into a huge boat on dry land based solely on a divine warning about rain that had never happened before.
That is an astonishing display of conviction.
It's absolute.
And it speaks to the certainty Noah held. We also get a glimpse into the internal tension within the family itself. While Noah's sons and their wives obeyed, they clearly feared the ridicule.
Of course they did.
So Noah had to consistently reinforce his conviction, reminding them that obedience to Jehovah mattered more than their possessions or their standing in the community.
It required extraordinary moral fortitude to hold that line when you're facing universal scorn.
It did.
So that makes his obedience not just a simple act of compliance, but an active, continuous resistance against all common sense and social pressure.
Well said.
Once the ark was finally finished, we move into the climax. The logistics are described with a kind of wonder.
Yes. When the ark was ready, the process was seamless. The animals came peacefully and entered it as commanded.
No chaos.
No chaos, no need for corrals. The natural world just submitted to the instruction. Then Noah and his family followed, and God sealed the door.
The rain fell for 40 days and 40 nights, beginning the flood. But that's just the first stage.
Just the beginning.
We learn the waters covered the earth for many months after the rain stopped. This wasn't a quick downpour, it was a total environmental reset that lasted the better part of a year.
It was a long period of waiting, with the world completely submerged, until God finally remembered Noah and the life preserved inside. And the resolution phase is slow, it's methodical, it reflects the scale of the change.
A wind passed over the earth, and the waters slowly began to recede. And the ark, having served its purpose as this temporary vessel of salvation, finally came to rest.
On the mountains of Ararat.
Right. And from that resting point, Noah began the task of verifying habitability.
Yes, he sent out a raven, which just flew back and forth, and then he sent a dove.
And the conclusive sign.
The moment they knew the ordeal was over arrived when the dove returned with an olive branch.
A symbol that the land had dried up and life could flourish again.
Yes.
And just like that, the Lord had kept his promise. The entire trajectory from the creation of a perfect world to the rapid descent into violence. The specificity of the ark command Gopher Wood and pitch, the immense cost of obedience, and the final resolution on Ararat is complete. So what does this foundational narrative ultimately mean for us, for the learner?
Well, if we connect this to the bigger picture, the narrative is an incredibly powerful examination of contrast. It highlights the devastating consequences of widespread moral and intellectual failure. When the internal thoughts of humanity are universally defined by evil, contrasted sharply with the single saving grace afforded by the costly, unfailing obedience of one family.
So in moments of crisis,
It underscores that in moments of extreme moral crisis, individual conviction is the sole pivot point for the future of civilization.
that's a powerful summary. Thank you for guiding us through those incredibly specific source details.
My pleasure.
Before we wrap up, here's a final thought for you to chew on as you reflect on this narrative. The sources detailed two distinct types of societal structures that flourished before the flood. You had the nomadic tribes led by family chiefs versus the settled cities ruled by powerful, centralized leaders.
A key distinction.
So, considering the text states humanity's thoughts became filled with violence and evil, did the concentration of power and population enabled by the city structure inherently facilitate the rise of that pervasive wickedness more quickly than the decentralized familial structure of the nomadic tribe? Something to consider as you ponder the moral architecture of early society. We'll see you next time for the next deep dive.